Hi everyone, thanks for taking the time to watching this virtual open day video. My name is Claudia Optenkamp and I'll be guiding you through this short video. So we've called this degree the BA in Film because it provides skills and knowledge that span a broad spectrum of film. So we're not called a BA in Film Production or BA in Film Studies because we don't favor any one part over another. So yes, we do production, but we also do distribution. We look at curation of film festivals, for instance. We look at regulation, issues of intellectual property. We look at the practice of reviewing, etc. So film in its broadest sense as a cultural entity. And then the key question, why should you study film at Bournemouth University? So Bournemouth University has established one of the most successful media departments in the country. We're home to the Centre for Excellence in Media Practice, but we also like to pride ourselves in the power of the BU alumni. Bournemouth alumni have worked on Oscar-nominated films like Star Wars, The Force Awakens, Mad Max Fury Road, Ex Machina, Gravity, Interstellar, and Avatar. And it's the contact with these students, that help each other in their first steps into the industry once they have graduated. So it's really about that sense of community that we think we create at Bournemouth. We're also professionally accredited. So, for instance, the International Moving Image Society, which is a professional body at Pinewood Studios, that has accredited our course. So, we like to think we're a new and innovative degree in an already prestigious department. And let's face it, it's a wonderful place to live for a few years whilst you're engaged in study. It doesn't look like this year round, but in the glorious months that it does, it's the most wonderful place to be. Let's return to the question and talk specifically about the film part of that question. We've thought long and very hard about what a film course should look like in the 21st century, and we've brought together some of the best academics and practitioners to design a curriculum that we think offers film in a way that no other institution does. We, for instance, focus on teaching entrepreneurship. We're not going to lie to you that at the end of this program, you'll easily walk into a job in the so-called the film industry because you will likely need to attract funding, start your own businesses, run budgets, make contacts, establish networks. So this is why we teach you the importance of the entrepreneurship within that field. And we also don't want you just to feed the existing film industry. We like to think of educating our students, potentially changing that industry when it comes to issues of gender and race. Many of us engage with practice, so the staff aren't old hands that have left the industry, so to speak, but we are people who are still making and writing things and writing about things and curating films. So here you see some of the recent outputs in our department from staff members, ranging from films to books, and it's these diverse staff interests that reflect the diverse student interests. We're also not training you to push buttons, right? You can learn that online. We're nurturing critically aware minds who can forge their own path with a deep understanding of the history and the culture of film. So what are the implications of pointing a camera at a certain person or object in a certain time and place. So we like to think there's no division between practice and theory. Practice is the contextualization and the conceptualization merged at every stage throughout the degree. And we like to think of this as critical practice. So a real practical example of that is that for a class that focuses on film industry, which I'll highlight in a little bit, you'll be, for instance, required to make a videographic essay as a part of your assignment, which is a perfect mix of that merger between theory and practice. So what will you study? I'll highlight quickly what your classes will be called throughout the 3 or perhaps 4 years that you'll be with us. So the first year in year one, what's really important to know is that we'll try to expose you to as many different forms of delivery, but also assignment that we can think of, and that will teach you many things about yourself, which are going to be very, very important throughout the rest of your studies. Because we'll focus on not only a lot of group work, but you'll also be doing things alone. One of these units, called Understanding Experimental Film, even sees a completely flipped mode of delivery, which means there'll be a minimum amount of hours of contact, and you'll be doing a lot of self-motivated work, which for some of you might turn out to be really difficult, but that's why we expose you to it in the first year. So we'll teach you things like fundamental components of film production in a course called, or in the unit called Film Language 1. What is a shot? What is an edit? So we'll explore the language of film with you. The film industries that I just mentioned, we'll see you making a video essay, and we'll explore filmmaking as an industry. And why does the industry today look like it does? How has that evolved historically? You'll also be taking a unit called Principles of Storytelling, where you'll identify and utilize, all these different tools to construct and then deconstruct the stories through various mediums. In the second semester, you'll be taking a unit called Film Language 2, which obviously builds on Film Language 1, and that takes those concepts to a higher level. Understanding experimental film, as I just mentioned, sees a flipped mode of delivery and in creative collaboration. It'll all be about working together in a team, and then you reflecting on that process in a written manner. That will be your first year. Your second year sees for the first time you actually choosing your own options, which means that you'll actually choose the things that you're interested in, and this is where your interest might start diverging from those people around you. You'll have a couple of core units. One of them is film business, where we explore film from the perspective of the intellectual property. So an idea and then owning it, but also very importantly, monetizing that idea. You'll also have the core unit called Film Story Structures, in which you'll explore and recognize the skills and techniques used to then create effective storytelling in film. And then for the remaining unit in semester 1, you will choose between documentary practice or media perspectives. Media perspectives is actually taught by as many as 20 different lecturers who will all be presenting their own research interests, and you choose two strands of these interests, range from something like a horror film to, for instance, spies in British cinema. A very wide spectrum of possibilities. And then the second semester will be our main production semester. This is going to be really exciting. You choose one option from the first list that you see here, you choose the second one from the second list, and then you choose a third from either, which means you might end up with something like production design, camera and lighting, and editing. These, I think, speak for themselves. For the first time this year, we have acting and script skills, and we hope that sufficiently enlarges the whole spectrum of options that you can study with us. Then a very exciting possibility is a placement year. We definitely encourage everyone to pursue a 4-week placement, which most people then execute in the summer. But the 30-week placement, both of these, by the way, are optional on the program. But the 30-week placement, which is either one long placement or made up of, say, a portfolio of smaller placement, will actually lead to a so-called sandwich year, in which you'll be away from the university and discovering a professional environment on your own. We will support you throughout that year. We have placement coordinators in place who cannot only help you secure a placement, but will also support you throughout the year that you'll be gone. We have really exciting opportunities for students. We have contacts with, places like the Walt Disney Company, where a couple of our current students are pursuing their placements right now, and they're always looking for new students based on the wonderful work that our students are doing there. So great opportunities there. And then the big one, the final year, you'll have a couple of core units again, which is project development for your graduate film, which is the big preparation for the final unit, the graduate project, which is a really big and double unit in terms of credits that it stands for. And everybody will also be taking entrepreneurship for the creative industries. And what you might have realized throughout these slides is that the main building blocks that we offer you, and that we like to think that we're unique in, is, I'll scroll back a little bit, in the first year you'll see something that's called the film industries. In the second year you'll see a unit called film business, and then in the final year you see a unit called entrepreneurship for the creative industry. We like to think that these are the three main building blocks that we provide you with, and that form the core of your program while you're here. Then in the first semester, in the final year, you again have to choose between two options. One is an independent research project, which kind of says it all. It's a research project with very few formal limitations that is undertaken independently, and actually can be seen as a mini grad project. You can make something practical here, but it can also be a very classic written dissertation. We have a spectrum of supervisors who can supervise you in any of those possibilities. And the other option is understanding distribution, which is a unit in which we'll explore marketing, theatrical exhibition, festivals, and available platforms for filmmaking. And then in the second semester, you will choose from career pathways or film festivals for makers and curators. Career pathways is actually a critical reflection upon a work placement. So this unit is only available to the students who have actually done a placement. The rest will be taking film festivals for makers and curators, which is a wonderful unit, which actually is designed to sort of facilitate the first step for many graduates in the marketplace, which will actually be submitting their work to a festival. And then this unit explores the role of the festival and the strategies for succeeding at them. This will all lead to the big one, the graduate project, which gives you the opportunity to work together with other students or individually to produce your calling card, right? The business card that you leave this institution with, which is appropriately packaged and developed alongside a critical analysis that really can function as the calling card once you leave Bournemouth University. So that is, in a nutshell, a bit of the structure. But let's go back to this question. And actually, it's a different meaning if you read it with the emphasis on yourself. So what kinds of things are we looking for in your personal statement for your application? So first of all, we look for people who are absolutely passionate about film, but also demonstrate your commitment to film outside of what you've learned at school. So whether that is making things or writing things or reviewing, or perhaps you have a blog, whatever that may be, tell us how passionate you are about film. We're also looking for good citizenship, which means not only that you have contributed successfully to teams, but also that you're engaged in activities that benefit more than just you as an individual. Write about that. And then lastly, we are interested in genuine reflection. What are you good at? What do you need to work on? Can you think of situations that proved what you were good at and the occasions when you realized you still needed to learn something? We are actually interested in both your strengths and weaknesses. Write about that in your personal statement. We'd love to hear about it. The entry requirements are stated here. You can also find them on our program website. Please look at them. We are interested in all subjects that you are studying, but please look this up on our website as well. I hope that this was sufficiently informative. Please let me know if you have any other questions, and thank you so much for listening, and hopefully see you in Bournemouth. Thank you very much.